Tim is saying, I've learned from my previous employment that positions are filled by people with referrals for friends or business contacts. 100%, Tim. The way that jobs hire, the way that companies hire is, and this is literally just by simplicity, right? Because if you don't do it this way, it's exhausting. And again, we talked a couple weeks ago about the time that I posted a potential app designer role on my LinkedIn. It was for a friend of a friend, and I got bombarded for weeks. People were emailing my personal emails. Someone put a meeting on my calendar for Saturday morning. They found my email address and they just did it without even asking, without even introducing themselves or saying who they were. And I had to delete it and kind of be like, what the heck? Why would you do this? And they were like, I'm so sorry. But then they sent me another email forgetting that they had just apologized. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to try and fill a role. So how does a company do it? Well, they say, okay, in order to fill this role, we need one. To see if anyone we already have on staff, on payroll can do this. It's just a no-brainer, right? You don't want to just keep hiring new people. Companies don't have unlimited funds. So they, of course, start with who on staff can do it so that we don't have to pay more money, but we can still get this problem solved. If they can't find anyone on staff, they say who on staff knows someone who can do this. That way we have more confidence because it's someone who knows someone and there's a higher likelihood that they're going to fit the culture and so on and so forth. So they give a referral bonus to the person on their staff that brings in a good employee. Wonderful. Everyone's happy. If no one on staff can find anyone, that's when they go, okay, let's hit up the networks. Let's go post this online. Let's figure it out. And they do that. And then they start interviewing people. But they're going to interview the people who found a way in first, because you're going to get a flood of a ton of applications, 100 plus, 200 plus, 300 plus. You get all these applications, and I've been on that side. I tried to hire a contract career coach at one of my previous companies, and I posted it, and all of a sudden I was like, holy cow, there are a lot of people here, right? So I start going through and I'm trying to sift through everything, and you just don't have time because you're doing it between meetings. And most people who are in the hiring position, it's not their full-time job. This was just handed to them as an addition to their already stressed workload. So then you're trying to figure out who you're going to bring in. And then once you start figuring out who to bring in, you have to start coordinating with everyone else on the team. And you can't bring in the people that have already talked to these people. So you got to bring in other people from other teams in order to do the interviews. So you're coordinating 5 or 6 people's different schedules with 5 to 10 different potential candidates. And you're mixing all these things up and you're trying to figure out, and you're trying to do follow-ups after each interview to get everyone on the same page and compile all the notes. I'm going to pause because that's what it's like on the hiring side. We don't think about that because we're so self-focused. We're so intrinsically focused that we forget how exhausting this is for the other people on the other side. We forget that every time that we just pepper them with a, hey, why aren't you getting back to me? A negative toned email. They just get angrier and angrier because they're already super stressed out. So what we need to do is we need to pause. We need to say, how do I be more helpful? How do I help them by emailing someone on the team and getting my resume put to the top of the pile? How do I help them by explaining why I should be brought in for an interview so they don't have to sift through 300 different people and interview 12 to 15 different people? The company wants hiring to end as quickly as humanly possible. And the reason they want it to end as quickly as humanly possible is because it's costing them tons of money. If you break out the salaries into hourly rates and you count up the number of hours that they're spending with everyone on the team interviewing and compiling notes and getting together and making decisions, it can easily get up to $3,000 to $6,000 fast per candidate.